Hey guys, it's Stacey. This is going to be my October/Spooktober wrap-up video. As you guys know, I was one of the hosts for Spooktober. That was a month-long Halloween celebration thing on Booktube, and we also had a readathon at the end of it. So I'm going to show you the books that I read before the readathon and the books that I read during the readathon. So the first book that I actually finished in October was this one, The Coldest Girl in Coal Town by Holly Black. I finished this for the most part in September, but still had about 100 pages left to go, so I actually completed it in October. I like this book a lot. I really enjoy Holly Black's writing style. I hadn't read anything by her before, and I just liked how she wrote. It was very fast-paced, lots of stuff, lots of action going on, lots of drama and craziness, and that's really good to help keep my attention because I need fast-paced. And it is a very young book. It's definitely YA, which is not something I typically read anymore because I'm going to be like 40 next year and I'm kind of out of the whole YA thing. But that being said, I highly related to the main character in this story. She reminded me a lot of myself when I was her age, so I didn't mind that the people in this story were much younger. This one had vampires and, like I said, lots of crazy stuff going on, so I thought it was fantastic to read for October or around Halloween time, and I recommend this one. The next one I picked up was part of the Spooktober readathon. It is the group book that we picked, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This one didn't have to be read during the Spooktober readathon week. It could have been read anytime during the month, so that's why I went ahead and picked it up early. I liked it. I thought it was interesting, and I liked the dialogue that was in it a lot. This was written in 1959, and you could definitely tell that it was written in a different era when people spoke differently. It reminded me of when I would watch black and white movies with my mom, just the way that they spoke to each other and the banter back and forth. And so I enjoyed that part of it. Overall, I did enjoy it. It was a short, quick read, and I thought it was good for Halloween. This next one I picked up is You by Caroline Kepnes, and this was my absolute favorite by far book that I read in a long time, not just in the month of October, but in a very long time. I really, really loved this book a lot. This book is basically about a stalker, but it's not the kind of stalker that we're used to. You get this story from his perspective, and he's kind of a really likable guy in general, and the girl that he ends up stalking is not likable, and all of her friends are not likable, and so you end up rooting for the stalker, which was just a very weird place to be. While I was reading this, I kept, wanting things to go his way instead of the girl's way, and it was just very bizarre to feel that way about somebody who is obviously crazy and has no business, doing the things that he was doing in this story. But he was just so dang likable. He was very funny, and he had just this awesome personality, and I kept thinking, like, wow, if he weren't a crazy stalker, he'd make a really good boyfriend. And I can't wait to get my hands on the second book, Hidden Bodies, because yes, I need more of this. The next one I read, I didn't actually read. I listened to it on Audible, and that is the Amityville Horror. That is another one that I really loved. When it comes to ghosts and hauntings and paranormal type stuff, that book blew me away. I was kind of terrified. There were certain parts in that book that were damn scary. And what makes it even more terrifying is that it is based off of a true story. I have a friend who used to go to New York to do some work, and he's actually been to the Amityville house, and he was telling me some stories about it, and that was freaking me out a little bit more because I was listening to the book while he was telling me stories about it. So yeah, that book was so, so good. I also watched the movie, the original version that I think was made in probably the 70s, and I did not like it at all. The book was way better than the movie. They actually changed a lot in the movie, and I didn't like the changes that they made. I thought if they just made it just how the book was written, it would have been perfect, but they messed with it, so I didn't like it. The next one I picked up was for Spooktober, and this was my book about a scary monster or Halloween monster. It could have been like a vampire, a ghost, a werewolf, stuff like that, and I'm kind of on a ghost kick right now, so I picked up this one, The Woman in Black. I liked it. It was really short, and I kind of feel like there could have been more to it. I feel like it went by really fast and there wasn't really enough of a story. But the ending totally got me. I was so shocked and surprised by the ending of this story. So the ending might be worth reading the book just in itself. This next one I picked up is this tiny little, it's just a short story, so it's not like an actual book. I picked this up when I went to the Edgar Allan Poe Museum last month, and it is the story of the Black Cat. This was a freaky deaky. This was a really, really strange, bizarre, like, whoa, Edgar, what the hell is wrong with you kind of story. It was one of those. I did not like it as much as I like his other stories. It really weirded me out and made me wonder even more about his sanity, but yeah, I read it. So this was part of Spooktober, and this was the Read an Iconic Horror Author part, Edgar Allan Poe. I also picked up The Crow by J.R. Barr. This was for the Spooktober Read a Scary Graphic Novel. I love this. This was a lot like the movie. There were a tiny few changes to it, but if you like the movie, you would like the book. It was really heartbreaking and disturbing, and it brought back all the feels that I have whenever I watch the movie, and it's perfect for a dark, stormy fall night and for Halloween. So yeah, I like this a lot. I read Coraline by Neil Gaiman because you know I had to read another Neil Gaiman book this month. I pretty much have to read one every month. But sadly, I didn't love this one as much as I love all of his other stuff. This one is for kids or middle school, I'd say, and I think that might have been my problem with it. I mean, it's a great story, it really is, but I think just because it's written for such a younger person, I just didn't connect with it or click with it or enjoy it as much as I like his stuff for adults. But this one was also for Spooktober, and this was the challenge to read the book and watch the movie adaptation. I watched the movie with the kids, and I was really frustrated by it. Again, they changed stuff in the movie that wasn't in the book. So yeah, I didn't love the movie, sadly, but we'll move on to more Neil Gaiman next month, probably. And the last book I read, this is what I finished out the month in, and this is what I used for read a story set in a scary setting, like a scary woods or a haunted house, something like that. I was going to read the poems by Edgar Allan Poe. I didn't make it to this. I saw this at a used bookstore. It was $1.99. I really loved the cover. I heard that this was really scary, and Reese Witherspoon, of all people, wrote a blurb on here, and she said, "Prepare to be scared, really scared." First off, Reese Witherspoon totally lied. This book was not scary in the least. There is no parts of this book that had any scare factor whatsoever. At least for me, it was not scary. And the characters that are in this book were so unlikable. I think you were supposed to like the main character and root for her, but I did not connect with her at all, did not click with her, didn't like her. I didn't like any of the people in this story, and I wouldn't have cared if all of them got murdered in the dark, dark wood. Would not have bothered me in the least. Another thing about this story is that I was able to predict all of the mysteries, all of the things that were laid out for you to be like, I wonder what the solution to that is, or oh, I wonder what this is, and you would find out later. I knew exactly what those solutions were. I knew what they were going to say. I just saw it coming, and then when it did happen, I was like, oh, not again. I freaking know the whole story. So yeah, I thought it was very predictable, unlikable characters, and not scary. The best thing about this book is the cover. Alright guys, there you have it. That is all the books that I read in October. I actually had a really good reading month. I never read this many books ever, so yay, that was exciting. I really loved being a part of Spooktober and everything that involved. So yeah, thanks everybody who joined Spooktober and was a part of this readathon. I hope y'all had as much fun as I did, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.